Some people being summoned to another world are confused about where they have arrived. Suddenly, they hear a voice saying that over the past years, the human nation has warred against the demon nations, resulting in heavy losses and extreme crises. That's the reason they have decided to summon people from the other world who were blessed with power. Everyone present is confused about the new world and whether it is real or not. While the confusion still remains, the people of the castle start analyzing the people's abilities. One of the girls present there had the scythe of the goddess, which is a rare skill, and the people continued to analyze everyone's skills. These skills were gained by them while they were passing through the other world, and the gods bestowed upon them that power. The people are shocked to be called heroes. The people present in the castle are examining their skills. While analyzing a boy named Aranami Norio, they detected no skill in him. In the real world of Aranami, he was a corporate drone, and the scene was shown when he was tired, but had to board an already full train. Despite his attempts, he bounced on somebody, and the person described himself as God. He was told that he was being summoned to another world as instructed by his father, who was Zeus. The person introduced himself as Hephaestus, and he would bestow the skill on him. Hephaestus created a skill named Master of Supremacy for Aranami. He instilled the power in Aranami so that he could use it in the new world. Back in the world, Aranami explains the whole scenario to the king. The king, disappointed, tells them he could only summon heroes from the world, but couldn't send them back. Everyone is furious at hearing that. The king calmly says that the demon king knew how to do that, which is why they had to fight them together. Aranami asks the king whether he could have a plot of land and live his life in solitude, so that he could put his corporate life behind him and live his second life. Aranami is presented with a piece of land that the king bought for him. He is also given an offer to live his life there. The land was not under the kingdom, so he had the full authority to live, farm, and harvest crops, and he didn't have to pay anything to the kingdom. As the people of the kingdom took leave, Aranami's new life began. Aranami thought the heroes who were summoned had to go on a great adventure and overcome a crisis by defeating the enemy, while he could live his life without any action. While searching for the perfect place to settle, he finds a place near the sea. He sees an octopus in the water and attempts to catch it, but unfortunately, he slips in the water and realizes that the water is salty. But as he sips some more, he grasps that it is sweet too. He decides to cook the octopus, so he starts a fire on a dry wooden plank. Finally, he ignites the fire and starts cooking the octopus. As he is eating, he remembers that the god of furnace Hephaestus bestowed upon him the mastery of supremacy, and he thinks of trying it out by activating his skills. As he tries cutting out the grass, he easily learns his powers. Aranami realizes that the Master of Supremacy takes the efficiency of anything he holds and multiplies it. He has completed farming and is waiting for the harvest. He thinks of going fishing again so that he can have something for dinner. Aranami is fishing, relaxing, and enjoying his life in the other world. He suddenly feels that he has caught a big fish, but it turns out to be a girl, who is furious over the fact that he fished her out. It's a mermaid who tells Aranami that since he fished her out, he has to marry her, as the loser has to dedicate their body and heart to the winner. The mermaid is utterly humiliated because she was caught by a land dweller. She starts shouting at Aranami as she has been caught by a member of a despicable race. Her pride had been obliterated, and that's the reason she could not return to the ocean. As a result, Aranami has to marry her. Suddenly, the mermaid drank something from a bottle, which transformed her into a girl with legs instead of flaps. Aranami tells the girl that they didn't have a shelter to sleep in, and suddenly, as he turns, he sees the seeds sprouting. He is happy with the skills Hephaestus gave him, which would make him self-sufficient. The mermaid tells Aranami that she has a famous power, which is medicinal magic coming from her ancestors. She then jumps into the water to get her things from her home. As the mermaid splashes into the water, Aranami thinks of building a house, as he is unsure whether the mermaid will come back or not. Aranami is unable to believe that he has made a house within 1 hour and wonders whether he is living in his dreams. As he is resting in bed, the mermaid arrives with tools for medicinal magic. The mermaid explains that when they mix plants with medicinal properties together by adding magic, they will get medicinal magic. They were of great use because normal people were also able to use them. The mermaid also brought a big fish, which she calls ba herring, and cuts it into pieces. She then boils it, extracts and dries it, finally powdering it and presenting it to Aranami as ba herring G fertilizer. It is a fertilizer that helps the plants grow faster. The next day, all the plants were fully grown, and Aranami was impressed with the fertilizer. The mermaid was impressed after tasting the vegetables, and Aranami started cooking them. He presents the cooked food to the mermaid, who enjoys the delicious meal. While enjoying the meal, Aranami asks the mermaid her name, to which she replies Platy. Platy asks him his name, and Aranami thinks of changing his name as he is in another world, so he introduces himself as Kidden. With this, it was the beginning of Kidden's life in the new world. Another day in Kidden's life in the new world, where he is living a pleasant life with a mermaid who is forced to marry him. As he woke up, he saw that Platy was already awake and went outside to find her. Platy was shouting that there was someone in the field pointing towards the scarecrow. He explained to her that it was equipped with a wooden sword, which drove away the birds that would ruin the crops. By having the scarecrow, our hero could rest assured that the birds would think of it as a human, and thus won't come to ruin the crops. As the scarecrow moves, he explains to Platy that he was summoned by the king of this country, and he received power from God. That power may have manifested while making the scarecrow. Platy is shocked to know that Kidden is a hero and asks why he is here and not fighting with the demons, to which he replies that he has retired from that place. Changing the topic, Kidden asks Platy what she would like to have for breakfast. As Kidden asked Platy why she woke up early, she got furious, thinking how dumb he was, and replied that she went to the toilet. She furiously explained to him that the ocean's food cycle was completed by the ocean's inhabitants. Kidden starts thinking what he should do about the bathroom, and then Platy comes up with a solution wherein the starfish stay in water, absorb organic matter around them, and act as ocean cleaners. If they keep the starfish in something like a box, it will act as a toilet. Platy showed a live demonstration by cutting her hand and spilling blood on the box with starfish. Kidden gets frightened as blood is coming out, and he holds her hand tightly so that more of it wouldn't spill out. Platy calmed him and used her magic to cure it. Meanwhile, a demon nearby sensed some noise and a strange aura of mana nearby. Platy now starts falling for Kidden, so she finds a wrapping cloth to make herself more presentable in front of him. Kidden was disappointed in himself, as she had to arrange her clothes because he was not resourceful enough. Platy tells Kidden she has found a dungeon, and Kidden wonders if they should venture underground. If they find any treasure, it would mean a boss is waiting at the bottom layer. Platy showed him the dungeon, which was 2 hours away and appeared abundant in mana. Platy explained to him that, depending on the place, the energy that flowed and circulated on the earth stopped its flow, stagnated, became dungeons, would condense, and be reincarnated into monsters. As a result, the monsters born within the dungeon will eventually overflow and invade the earth and its oceans. Platy is excited about beating up the monsters, so they go into the dungeon. The interior of the dungeon was almost different from that of the exterior, which looked like a castle. The monsters attack them, but Platy takes charge and defeats them with her battle medicine. Kidden found a sword that would help him fight against the monsters and use his power. Platy felt that the monsters were led by something, which meant that they had a master. Dungeons with a master are extremely rare as well as dangerous. The master was the king of the undead, the Lifeless King. The Lifeless King was a powerful and intelligent magician, also known as a high priest who decided to turn himself into an undead entity. To encounter this king meant encountering death. As the king of the dungeon showed himself, Kidden readily jumped into action by using his whole power, defeating the monster using the holy sword. Holy swords choose their masters, and the sword chose Kidden rather than the king of the monsters, so his duty in that world was over. The king told him to strike him down with a sword, so that he could be laid to rest in the light of the holy sword. Kidden explains to the monster that he came from another world, and before coming, he was given the power to master any tool he could hold, so the sword might have reacted to that power. The monster reacted surprised, as it was a gift from the gods that was heard of only in legends, and Kidden seems to have an extraordinary ability. Because of the gift that he received from God, he can't even be called a hero, but rather a saint. The monster now offers the greatest form of hospitality to Kidden. Platy was happy as the monster's fur and bones made for great magic tool materials, and the ones burned were more useful. The lifeless king in his past life served as the archbishop of a certain church, and he delved into that dungeon, absorbed the stagnating mana, and turned into an undead entity by placing a great curse upon himself. Kidden invites him to visit them sometime so that they can present him with the vegetables they are growing. While leaving, Kidden obtains the holy sword. The vegetables are flourishing, and with the sword, Kidden is able to do things very fast. Kidden is now making a smithing kiln with the holy sword. Platy asked why he was making a smithing kiln, so Kidden explains that there was rarely enough dense mana in cave dungeons for it to materialize into a single piece of mana metal. Since the metal was made of mana, it was going to be a suitable magical sword, and a solid mana metal was worth 10 gold coins. Kidden acquired kitchen utensils such as a frying pan and a kitchen knife. With the knife, he started chopping the vegetables, and then, in the frying pan, he prepared the vegetables. Platy loves the food, and with the use of his utensils, Kidden's cooking skills started to expand too. Platy took Kidden to the mountains, as she had never seen a mountain due to her life as a mermaid. Kidden asks Platy whether there were monsters in the mountains or not, to which Platy replies that there were bird monsters, mountain-type monsters like the square boar, Kurosaki deer, and many more. While walking down the mountains, they encounter another dungeon, and a whole bunch of square boars try to attack them in a group. Luckily, Kidden defeats them swiftly. Platy was happy as they would be able to prepare the boar meat with vegetables to make the food more delicious. Kidden has prepared a delicious meal for Platy, and she is again overwhelmed by its taste. Platy is excited about visiting the mountains again to hunt for monsters, so that Kidden can prepare another delicious meal for her. Suddenly, a dragon attacks them, saying he was the master of the dungeon they attacked. The dragon reveals his name as Grinzel Dragon Vale, and he is furious, as the couple previously attacked and slaughtered his underlings. As they tarnished its honor, the dragon was determined to erase their whole existence by killing them. The dragon attacks them with the die curse, but with the help of the holy sword, Kidden is able to block his breath and save both Platy and himself. After the dragon sees the holy sword in Kidden's hand, the dragon gets more furious and tries to attack Kidden. Suddenly, the lifeless king appears in front of Kidden and attacks the dragon, and the dragon runs away. The lifeless king explains to Kidden that, as they barged into the dragon's mountains without his permission, the dragon attacked them. The dungeon served as an output of outstanding raw materials, even ingredients and building materials. The dragon appears before them again, and the lifeless king tells the dragon that he is not a worthy successor to the Gazer dragon, and that Kidden is not an opponent of his level. But the dragon is reluctant to understand, as the sword belonged to his father, and the holy sword chose Kidden as its master. The lifeless king challenges the dragon to defeat Kidden, and the moment he attacks Kidden, the dragon gets defeated. Kidden offers the dragon the meat he cooked, which impresses the dragon. The dragon starts to shrink himself and changes into a girl. She sits at the table to taste the meat, and Platy gets furious about this as it is her turn to eat. Kidden explains how he had made this meal by grilling it with garlic to add aroma, then adding some salt and pepper to make it delicious. As the beast transforms back into a dragon, she threatens Kidden that she will surely overtake the sword. Now Platy goes with the dragon to find eggs. Kidden made a sword out of the mana metal, and Platy was excited to sell it, as it would be the world's strongest sword, excluding the holy sword. Kitten made the sword for Kakashi, which would make him chop out the birds attacking the field, and wondered what next he could equip him with. Kitten is peacefully sitting near the sea and fishing. He remembers the last time he was fishing, when he caught a mermaid and got married. Life in another world is busy with a dragon veil and the lifeless king. Suddenly, to his horror, a Finn asks him whether he is friends with Platy, and he gets attacked by a group of Finns. Kitten takes out his holy sword and defeats the Finns, and the commotion makes Platy scared. As she arrives near the ocean, she recognizes her brother, and everyone asks whether she is safe or not. Platy introduces Kitten to her brother, who was the next heir to the throne, Prince Arowana. Platy introduces Kitten as her husband, to which Arowana gets furious and tells the Finns to resume the battle. As Kitten continues to fight against them, the dragon appears to help. Furious Grinzel, who was the daughter of Gazer Dragon, threatens that she will turn the Finns into charcoal. Kitten calms the dragon down and requests Platy's brother to talk it out. However, her brother is reluctant to hear anything, and Platy threatens him with going back to the kingdom. Arowana comes out of the sea, and the dragon is excited, thinking that she will get to have a delicious meal again. The visual of the place where Kitten and Platy live makes her brother furious, as she was a member of the royal mermaid family who now lives in a shabby place. Platy suggests he should look at the actual place, as it was the storehouse he was looking at where they kept meat. As he looked, there was a huge building in his sight, and he got a look at another house where they made seasonings for the food. Platy proudly tells her brother that her husband is not only skilled at cooking, but has also mastered fighting. Kitten made her brother sit in a chair where he served him tea. Dragon changed herself into a girl and sat down on the table to try on the new dish that Kitten was going to make. Everyone was impressed by Kitten's food, as it was utterly delicious. Platy's brother understands that Kitten is like a saint or sage, apologizes for his behavior, and tells him that he wants to leave his sister to him. Kitten starts thinking because he's heard that Platy was the princess from the Mermaid Kingdom. Platy becomes furious when Kitten says that she was hurting a lot of people's expectations. Arowana calms Platy down and tells Kitten that Platy faced a problem in marriage that she couldn't avoid. Arowana explains to Kitten that in their world, there was a war between humans and magic beings. The mermaids had to choose one of them as the magical beings came, and the royals became a forced choice. The highest echelons of the kingdom discussed which race Platy should marry, as they would become enemies of both sides. He is proud of her, as she met a nice person, and Arowana begged him to marry her officially. The dragon girl suggested she could marry Kitten. Then she could possess the holy sword and also eat delicious meals, about which Platy got furious. Kitten shouted at the dragon girl, saying that he would only marry Platy. Platy explains that she ran away from home when the kingdom's burden became unbearable, and as soon as she was caught, she was forced to be his bride. The people in the kingdom found him useless in fights, so he came here, but he was happy as Platy was by his side. Kitten made a delicious treat as his wedding gift. Kitten realizes he needs more help now and is in need of the help of workers. Kitten wanted to do something about the field and wanted to manage and harvest crops that were already mature. The lifeless king appeared with mana metal and came to hang out as he was free. Kitten is very happy after he sees the stone, as he can make tons of household tools with it. After all, he wanted to make a home with all he had. The lifeless king thinks of helping Kitten with workers as he required them. He brings 5 orcs and 5 goblins, who are humanoid monsters. He orders them to obey Kitten. They absorb mana in the air, so they are not required to be fed or rewarded. Kitten thanks him for his help and for solving his problem. Kitten orders them to build an amazing house. The goblins were small, but they had very skillful hands, and the orc's physique was suited for manual labor. As Kitten watched them work, he subconsciously became nicer and nicer to them. But Platy suggested that they were not living creatures as they were created from mana, so he shouldn't empathize with them too much. Even if the monsters die, they'll send large armies bashing their strategy on the assumption that they'll be wiped out. Those magical beings used humanoid monsters like orcs and goblins on a large scale to battle the human race. Suddenly, one of the goblins falls. Kidden helps him stand up and asks whether he is all right. To their shock, the goblin responds by speaking, and Kidden imposes a sense of self-awareness on them with his master of superior power. The house is finally complete, and the dragon girl is astonished to see the huge structure of the house. Kidden thinks of a monster tenement house where they could stay and also have a kitchen and bathroom. Kidden also created a futon, which was made by Gobukichi, who was the most skilled goblin at sewing. Futon was gifted to Platy by Kidden, and he also grew cotton with grass so that he could make tatami. As Platy tried sleeping in it, she was overwhelmed, as their cultivating lifestyle was going to be great from there. Platy's brother arrives at their new house and is astonished at its huge structure. He tells Kidden that the news had spread and that he had already consulted with his father about their marriage. At first, his father was confused, but as our hero did not belong to any race, he agreed. However, Platy was struggling because of the political marriage. Despite this, the father proclaimed that she would only marry Kidden. Platy's brother bows down to Kidden, and he stops him from doing that. Suddenly, a goblin informs Kidden that numerous monsters have landed. They were magical beings, and an enemy attacked from the coast. Platy's brother was surprised, as that place is their country's top secret, and it is discovered by magical beings. Orcubo captured the Estress of Deception, a demon lord who was one of the 4 heavenly kings. The 9 orcs and goblins fight against 100 bodies, and also capture the Estress. As she interacts with Platy's brother, she sets her hands free and calls the mermaids blockheads, as they shouldn't underestimate their intelligence-gathering network. Her work was only to kill the bride thief, the holy saint, and take back the mermaid princess. The Estress of Deception introduced herself as a monster who made her allies tremble in fear and supervised the demon lord's upper echelons. Kidden tries to stop Platy's brother, but the lifeless king appears as he senses something very noisy. Kidden introduces the lifeless king as sensei, at which Platy's brother was shocked, as he was one of the world's 2 calamity classes. After that, the dragon also appeared with Platy, and everyone was shocked. The dragon also warns the demon that if she harms Kidden, she will become their enemy. The Estress of Deception throws a proposal to duel with Kidden, and if he wins, she will listen to whatever he has to say. Kidden accepts the proposal, and they go into a fight. Estress faints after she sees the legendary evil sword, Dry Schwartz, in Kidden's hand. As the dragon takes the Estress away, she asks why she is serving Kidden, to which she replies that she can't let go of the deliciousness of his master's dishes. The Estress of Deception arrives again and tells them that she has been expelled from the Demon King's army. The other 2 promised themselves that they would serve Estress. The dragon arrives to enjoy a meal with Kidden and Platy. The Estress explains that she failed in her task to bring the princess back, and the monsters she brought were all annihilated. Besides, dragging a dragon onto the battlefield, which caused mayhem, was a grave sin. Her title was revoked, and she was exiled from the demon country. They discuss among themselves the scenario that happened against Estress, and how she was being schemed out by Ravian. But Estress tells them it was not a scheme, as she was the one who was pathetic and couldn't fulfill her task. She begs Kidden to let her work under him for a while, so that she will get to know the reason why the 2 world-class calamities, the dragon and the lifeless king, are working for Kidden. He agrees with Estress and tells her that she could try to rediscover herself. But Kidden imposes a rule that if 3 of them stay, bloodshed must be prohibited. Kidden makes them work in the field to dig the soil and make ridges so that he can plant seeds. Estress sided with them and took charge of the field, as she was born an aristocrat in the demon country. Beatty went with the goblins to make ridges in the field, as ordered by Estress. But they fail, and they start hurting themselves. The next task given was hunting, which the Estress felt was a perfect job for the warrior. As the square boars appeared in a group, the goblins and orcs fought them, while the Audiovisual couldn't do it. Audiovisual realized that the tools and weapons were all made of mana material. They tried to defeat them, but failed. Platy used her magic to freeze the square boars and carry them. As they arrived from the hunt, Kitten was done preparing a delicious meal for them. Audiovisual tells Kitten that the residents there were unparalleled and the equipment was good. Both the human and mermaid races feared her. Kitten told them not to worry and to believe in herself. He presents them with dinner, and Audiovisual tells them she has never seen any kind of dish like that. Kitten explains to her that it was a new ginger grilled square boar and tanjiro soup. Everyone loves the food and eats a lot. Audiovisual is in search of Platy and Kitten, and it seemed to her that they were in the sea running some errands. Audiovisual is done harvesting the requested vegetables and thinks of cleaning the house. The dragon was lying peacefully and was doing her so-called house watching. Platy and Kitten are near the sea, and Platy is enjoying her mermaid time in the sea. Platy told Kitten that from the place they were sitting came sea monsters, and beneath that ocean, there was a bad monster dwelling in it. As Platy decided to go inside the water, Kitten was unsure of sending her alone in the water. Platy gives him water-breathing medicine so that he can go inside the water with her. Platy also warns him that he should continuously chew it and not swallow it. Both of them jump into the water, and Kitten is able to breathe in the water. Suddenly, they sense something coming towards them. It was Rinny Eel. With Platy's magic, she stopped that eel's movement and left the rest to Kitten. As they kill the monster, their task is done in the sea, and then they leave for home. Kitten takes some meat from the sea eel and also takes some seaweed. He was preparing a dish, and to no surprise, the dish was delicious. Being a bit romantic, Kitten says to Platy that he wants to spend some of his time with Platy alone, as they are a newlywed couple. While inside the demon's castle, the king of the demons is informed that a stress of deception was not only being dismissed, but was also evicted. And that's the reason they had to elect anew the 4 demon lords as heavenly kings. The king of demons asks who permitted her dismissal, to which one of them replies that it was the Reverian of poverty. The demon king gets furious, and Reverian pleads to leave him for mercy. Someone in the castle presents the coordinates of the transmitted magic. Audiovisual asks Kitten about the scarecrow, and he explains that the sword was just for decoration, and that it would protect the crops from birds and stuff while they were away. As the scarecrow demonstrated its dance, the goblins were so impressed that they also started jumping along, so Kakatsu jumped to scare away the birds. Suddenly, while dancing, Kakatsu's leg breaks down and falls. By using Kitten's power, he brought back Kakatsu and fixed him. Platy suggested making Kakatsu out of the mana metal so that it wouldn't break any further. But Kitten says he likes it better with the woods. Momoko Akasaka was a normal high school student who was transported to another world and gained the power of goddess sickle skill when she was transported to that world. She used her power to fight the demons alongside humans. She was struggling to live her life there as her modern conveniences were gone, and she had to wear clothes made of rough fabric, which made her skin itchy. The bed sometimes had fleas, and the bread was usually stale and hard because the food was overcooked. She remembered that if she was weak, she had to die. And that's the reason why the person who had no skills was doomed. In that harsh world, if they had no skills, they had to die. The king always reminded them that having a skill that was gifted by God is considered a rare privilege, and that's why he took care of all their needs. She is determined to fight until her skill is the strongest in the world. Every hero present in the kingdom is determined to protect the world. On the battlefield, a dragon suddenly arrives, and even the demons were scared of the dragon. Momoko thought that she didn't stand a chance, and they had to retreat, as with a single breath, the dragon would wipe them away. The dragon had a message for them that he had come to return the Audiovisual to the demon tribe and introduced himself as Grinsel Dragon Veil. Every hero present is shocked to hear that there was someone even higher than the dragon. The scene shifted to the place where Kitten lived, who was enjoying his meal when, to his shock, the demon lord Zedden arrived before him. Audiovisual and her 2 friends are very happy, as Estrez was successful in her first hunt. To her shock, she encounters Lord Zedden. Lord Zedden didn't know that she was there, and he asked her why she left without a word. Estrez is confronted with the fact that she was a subordinate who was not able to fulfill her duties, was publicly humiliated by the dragon, and failed at bringing the mermaid princess. Everyone sits inside the house and is presented with tea. The demon lord tells Kidden that it was their duty to continue their war with the human nations, and he was currently the demon lord who would continue his fight against the human race. The demon lord praised Estrez as the most reliable, extremely loyal, and indispensable one in his kingdom. The demon lord tells Kidden that there were several nobles in his kingdom who would profit and advance their positions with Estrez's dismissal, and that she was exiled under military tribunal. Lord Zedden holds Estrez's hand and asks her not to leave him like that further, and everyone blushes at the idea of what is going on between them. Demon Lord Zedden challenges Kidden to a duel with him. Platy says that the Undead King and the Master of Grinzel Dragon Vale are with Kidden, and she also says that Estrez was free to go with the Demon Lord. Kidden explains to Estrez that she didn't belong to him and was free to go, but she had potential when she was by his side. Platy stands up, introduces herself as the first princess of the Mermaid Nation, and says that the demon nobility had sent a petition to her father for an alliance through marriage between her and the Demon Lord. Platy continues that outside of the remaining heavenly kings and the demon nobility, there would be advancement, and with Estrez's dismissal and removal of the 4 heavenly kings, it would certainly shift the balance of power. So, basically, the plan was that the guy planned all of these to push Estrez out of the way, move up the ladder to the number 2 position, and send Estrez to retrieve Platy. The worst of all that could happen was that they would demand that the Demon Lord clear his throne, and he would also lose a lot of subjects. The marriage was not only to forge an alliance, but also to ensure that the kingdoms would have heirs. Platy gives them the idea of marrying each other so that they don't have to return as lords and subordinates, leaving everyone shocked. The marriage of the Estrez and the Demon King would be the worst outcome for the person who plotted that whole scenario. They would want their daughter or sister to be the king's first lady if someone in the demon race is aiming to gain power as close as the demon's king. The Estrez asked what they should do for the marriage, to which Platy replied that they have to exchange marriage vows before God. Platy calls the lifeless king because he was a great pastor for a big church when he was alive, so Sensei would bear witness to the marriage. But Platy made a mistake, as different races worship different gods, and the demon race god was the underworld Hades. Sensei assures her that though the tenets might be different, he would study the etiquette of the prayer. But Sensei started his ritual for marriage by bestowing good fortune, and the god of the underworld Hades appears before them. God asks Sensei for what reason he is summoned. Zedden bows down to tell the god that he wants to marry Estrez, and he was being summoned by Sensei accidentally. God Hades asks Zedden whether he would love the woman for the rest of his life, to which Zedden says that he does want to spend the rest of his life with Estrez, and they receive God's blessings. After receiving blessings from God, Sensei says that whoever would forcibly sabotage their relationship would meet with divine punishment. Zedden thanks Kidden and Platy for fulfilling his dream of marrying Estrez. Estrez decided to stay there for a while and return with the Demon King. Zedden asks Estrez the reason why she wants to stay there, and she replies that she wants to train herself under the guidance of Kidden and others and reform herself. Kidden feels guilty, as he didn't want to separate the newlyweds, and the Demon King asks Kidden if he could also stay with them for a little while. Zedden explains that as the dragon went on the battlefield, both factions were shaken, and both sides wouldn't dispatch until they found the right information. Kidden decides to build a house for the Demon King and Estrez. Kidden thought of an idea to set up a teleportation point from where Zedden could teleport instantly. One of Estrez's subordinates, Belinia, is able to teleport and is one of the few people who could do that. Zedden thanks Belina as she arrives there with the information. The dragon puts up a barrier around the entire area while she tosses Estrez onto the battlefield. The dragon girl says she always wanted to hog Kidden's meals all by herself. Everyone celebrates Zeden's and Astra's marriage with a wholesome meal. The meal was prepared for everyone by Kidden, and everyone was delighted. Platy asks Kidden when he learned such good cooking. He replies that in the place he used to live earlier, he cooked for himself, and is very happy to see everyone enjoying his meal. Platy gets infuriated when Astres asks Kidden's help in becoming an ideal wife for Zeden. Kidden calms her down and tells her that it was only because of Platy that he grew crops and made the dishes delicious. Both Zeden and Astres want to be guided by Kidden to become dutiful wives and husbands. Zeden supported Astres in her training as a dutiful wife. Everyone started to work in the new home of Zeden and Astres, while Astres prepared food for everyone. Kidden praises Astres for her cooking skills, how she handled the kitchen knife very well, and how she added perfect seasonings to the dishes. One of the subordinates of Astres decided that she would learn sewing when they discovered Kidden. Astres presents Zeden with a dress made by her. Kidden also promises Platy to make clothes for her. Earlier that day, when Kidden was exploring the mountains, he found a caterpillar spewing thread and used it to make fabric. Everyone is shocked and thinks of his ideas as unique for that world. Astres, along with her subordinates, start to sew clothes for Platy. Baitme started to take Platy's measurements to make her clothes, and suddenly Platy removed the cloth from her lower portion so that Baitme could take measurements. Astres states that exposing their lower half is considered a crime by demons and humans who live on the surface. Platy gets embarrassed and shouts at everyone about why they haven't told her before. Baitme promises Platy to make her a wonderful dress and starts taking Platy's measurements. Baitme made the dress for Platy, which had frills that were inspired by the sea's waves and its blue color. Platy was utterly satisfied with her new clothes, while Baitme made a dress for Kidden too. Suddenly, Veal throws a splash of fire at Platy's new clothes and states that the fabric had a great deal of anti-magic infused into it. Veal also betted that it was superior to armor and also had high defensive powers. Everyone discovered that the caterpillar with Kidden's power was enhanced and gave birth to another legendary armor. Kidden thought that with that fabric, Baitme would also make clothes for them. Astres noticed a slight tear on the shirt of the Demon King, and Astres assured him that she would fix it. The newlyweds were sharing a wholesome moment together. In the human kingdom, the king is trying to find the reason for the curse that blasted the dragon, and because of it, the war was at a stalemate. There is still no information about the master of the dragon. The king thought that he had used all the country's mana to summon heroes from a parallel world, and he was supposed to end that war between demons and the human race. The king further states that annihilation would be inevitable if the dragon ever appeared again. Unsettlement would be inevitable. The king orders them to find the Saint Kidden so that they can win the war. There was a rumor spreading that a civil war was going on in the demon capital. In Kidden's place, Zeden and Astres were sharing some special moments and thought of getting back to the demon country as soon as it had been 2 months since they were living there. As Zeden picks up the holy sword in his hand, the holy sword feels agitated with just one swing. Zeden brings the sword to Kidden, who was using the holy sword to cut mana metal. Kidden stated that the holy sword wouldn't leave him, so he had to keep that sword. Zeden told them that a saint's power, gifted by the gods, could even surpass that of a hero. Kidden confronted Zeden, saying that he came from a parallel world, had 0 useful skills, and was dismissed from the war. Kidden demonstrated his power to Zeden by budding a sprout and explaining that it is something like being able to bring out the maximum potential of anything he touches. Zeden is surprised and states that no one could withstand Kidden's power. Zeden appreciated Kidden's power and said that it was for greater use in this world. Zeden now decides to return to his kingdom with Astres, and Baitme stays back with Kidden to make more clothes there. For context, the following conversation happened before the Demon Lord returned to the demon country. Basically, Kidden wanted to compete with Zeden and thought of doing some kind of sumo activity. Our hero went on to explain to him the rules of the sumo game which would not include attacks such as punching, kicking, or other blows, as such methods are not allowed. The only thing that they should focus on is to just get the opponent out of the circle. Now the battle begins, and the men start fighting against each other in impressive fashion. All seems to be standard as of now. But then Kiden suddenly remembers a whole new range techniques and ends up beating Zedden. At this very moment, Prince Arowana arrives to the scene, causing him and Zedden to get into a fight. Soon enough, all the orcs from the surrounding area also get into the fight, and this leads to sumo becoming very famous among the farm men. The ultimate champion, though, was Prince Arowana. Now, we can see that Kiden has made one of the staple foods of his world, which was made of wheat flour called bread. Kiden thought of making rice, which was also a staple food in his country, and was white, grainy, and slightly sweet. Kiden assigns the goblins to handle the fieldwork, and the orcs are in charge of the construction projects. Belina was in charge of the control of the waypoints, and Baitme was in charge of needlework. Vale protected the land from invaders, as well as creating canals for the fields once in a while. Platy was furious, as she was managing the fridge and the crop harvesting, producing miso and soy sauce at the brewery, and preparing and processing the field's manure single-handedly. Platy's brother arrived there to sell the pickled radishes, and Platy got furious as he was the one causing such a workload. Platy proposes to her brother to bring several people from the Mermaid Kingdom so that she could balance out her workload, and her merfolk would specialize in pharmaceutical magic. Platy's brother explains to her that merfolk couldn't survive onshore in the first place, but as Platy decided to settle there of her own free will, she was a rare case. It was a crude concoction, as there were restrictions on turning into a land dweller, and the side effects included losing their voice or turning into bubbles and vanishing. Most of the merfolk wouldn't come out to land on their own, and they had medicine made, and a system implemented in the Mermaid Kingdom was the banishment of criminals. The law stated that besides the death penalty, another form of punishment was banishment. They had to spend the rest of their lives in a vast and unknown land. When it came to Platy's helpers, they must be at a certain level of potion brewing, and the Royal Palace's Human Affairs team would dispatch them to the surface for a long period of time. Platy suggested he bring those banished criminals to their place, and he ordered his brother to bring 3 helpers for her. Arowana brings 3 helpers to Platy and introduces them as Lampai, Gara Rufa, and Puffer. Platy arrives in front of the girls. One of the girls was the Witch of the Bitter Cold Puffer. One was the Hellfire Dr. Lampai, and the last one was the Plague Witch Gara Rufa. Arowana orders the girls to serve and work under his sister as part of their sentence. Kiden asked Arowana what kind of crimes they committed. In their kingdom, 6 ferocious witches that specialized in pharmaceuticals existed, and he brought 3 of them from the Great Mad Witches. Puffer focused on globally circulating the mana flow under the seas and aimed to develop a way to artificially control that, and she planned to engulf both human and demon races. He also added that if she could get control of the mana, she would engulf the whole world in ice. Gara Rufa was also a frightening individual in the Merfolk Medical Association for Pharmaceutical Magic. She was entrusted with the highest authority, but she spouted peculiar theories. Gara Rufa suddenly started with her theories about bacteria and antibiotics, and Arama got frustrated listening to her. Lampai used to serve the royal merfolk as an imperial guard, and because of Platy's marriage, public opinion was split, and she brutally beat an aristocrat who objectified Platy's marriage. Arowana revealed to Kiden that there was something he didn't know about Platy, that she had been far more dangerous in drug inventions and scandals by a long shot, and due to her royal blood, her actions were pardoned, and she was called the Crowned Witch. Puffer discovered that the place was in the human race's territory, and the woman who gave them clothes was from the demon race. To everyone's surprise, there was also an orc and a goblin. As the 3 mermaids underestimated Vale, she transformed into her real form as a dragon. Kiden's identity was still confusing to the girls. As the lifeless king appeared, the 3 girls fainted to watch the world's 2 greatest calamities together. The three girls wake up and try to recall everything that happened. They also love the bed, which is soft and fluffy. Belina introduces herself to the girls and asks them to appear before Kitten. Lampai starts to cry in front of Platy and tells her she feels very bad for her as she lives in a place full of demons, to which Platy replies that her husband is a human. Everyone is both shocked and confused about how the demon's territory is owned by a human. As the girls see the lifeless king again, they get scared again and think it is the end of the world. Platy explains to them that the dragon and the lifeless king protected them. Platy tells them that they will serve her as a cook. Platy shows them where they have to work while they are thinking of escaping from that place. Platy says that the place is where they process food and prepare condiments. She introduces them and asks them to taste soy sauce, which was a drug that enhanced the food's flavors. As they taste it, it at first tastes salty, but later they like it. Gara Rufa got excited when Platy explained that it was fermented food that used microbes and germs that weren't seen by the naked eye. Gara Rufa is so happy that finally her theories were practically presented. As the girls ask who Kitten was, Platy proudly says that he was summoned from another world of the human race to help them triumph over the demon race in the war. Vale is furious at the girls, as they haven't started the meal if the three girls are not present. Kitten made pizza for everyone, then cut it into slices and presented them to everyone. The girls were overwhelmed by the taste of the pizza. Kitten also made Arana his favorite pickled radishes. Lampai smiles and tells Platy how she was charmed by Kitten. As it was night, all three girls rested on the bed, which was made of high-quality clothing and was smooth and comfortable. All three girls are working together in the kitchen with the dried radish, and Gara Rufa suggests that they make a pickle and add some miso to it. As Gara, Rufa, and Puffer are working in the kitchen, Lampai went out with the orcs to hunt, as she loves a good workout. Lampai hunted flawlessly, impressing everyone. As Platy and Kitten lie on their beds, they have a conversation about how it is such a help to have those three girls. With the support of everyone, they are able to prepare for a paddy field, and Kitten thinks of cultivating rice in his world. The task given to the girls the next day is to plant seedlings in the muddy field. Gara Rufa is excited as she heard from Kitten that rice is an ingredient to be fermented and can turn it into wine. Everyone is excited about planting seedlings, while Platy asks Kitten to show them how to start the work. Kitten shows them how to plant the seedlings within rows lined with thread, and then they have to plant them at spaced intervals. As everyone starts to sow the seedlings, they realize it was a hard task, and suddenly Baitme falls in the field. Vale didn't face many struggles because of her dragon strength. Vale even challenges Platy on who could plant faster, to which Platy mocks her, saying that the one who only eats and sleeps would lose. As the competition continues, Platy realizes that, though Vale appears as a short girl, she has the power and strength of the dragon, so she could win the competition easily. With Platy's fish fertilizer and magic, the rice grew within a month, and the planting was done within one day itself with everyone's help. The rice is cooked by Kitten, who explains the process by which rice is made after the grains are boiled. Platy gives all her strength so that the rice can grow faster, and the use of fertilizers and maintenance enhances the growth. The first bite of the rice is taken by Kitten, and everyone wants to taste it, as they saw Kitten's tears after tasting the rice. Platy asks Kitten why rice is so special to him. Kitten replies that it is because he wanted to express his gratitude to the person who gave him that ability. Sensei is eliminated, and the dragon brings him back to them. Lampai thought in her mind that she was losing her position as an imperial guard due to their relationship with the two calamities. Vale told them that it would be inconvenient if they lost all the monsters they had been eating, but the place he was in was untouched. Kitten sensed some strong monsters near them, and suddenly some things jumped out of the dense grass around them. Everyone jumped at defeating those monsters, and they used explosive magic potions called Hellfire, but it did not affect them. As Lampai moves forward to determine the tortoise-like monster, she is captured. Orcs are also not able to defeat the monsters, and in the end, Kidden jumps and kills those monsters. Platy tells Lampai that Kidden even surpassed the world's two greatest calamities. They finally took a short break from the hunt. Lampai is surprised by the thought that Kidden might surpass both the dragon and the lifeless king. Kidden confesses that he didn't have any skills fit for battle, but could bring out the maximum potential of anything he touched. Lampai asks him why the human kingdom banned him despite the power he possesses. Kidden tells her that it is because of the holy sword he could fight with, and Lampai thinks that, as Princess Platy is married to him, the mermaid kingdom is safe. Everyone felt very hot while they were traveling through the mountains, to which the dragon replied that monsters who are at their best at that temperature would attack them, and the next stage is called Scorching Hell. Some wolves arrive before them, called the Hylicaons, who are the most dangerous quadrupedal monsters out in the mountains. They are strongest when it is hot. The Hylicaons sensed Kidden's power, so they didn't attack him, and ended up being pampered by Kidden. As they passed the Scorching Hell, the wolves followed them, and Sensei said that they must have recognized Kidden as their leader. As they continue to explore Vale's dungeon, taking the wolves suddenly, they face the Freezing Hell, which was the final dungeon of Vale. A bear appears before them, and though the bear was also aware of Kidden's power, he had to fight with them. The wolves and Lampai jump at the bear, preventing it from moving. Lampai injures one of his tendons so that the bear can't move. Kidden asks Platy if she has the salve that Kidden told him to bring, to which Platy is shocked that he is going to use it on the bear. Kidden instead has other plans to save the bear and listen to his objective. The dragon was their last opponent. The bear comes to their rescue, saves them from the dragon, and goes away. The bear was a prideful beast, and the battle between dragon and bear was just a way of repaying the Lord's kindness, so he went on a solitary journey. Everyone was happy to finally go home. Kidden made a new dish named katsudon. On their way home, they found a bird monster that laid eggs. Kidden thanked Vale as she helped him find the eggs he had been wanting for a long time. Everyone enjoys the dish, as it is delicious to taste. The head of the gang of thieves, Aileron, saw Kidden's place from far away. Kidden names the wolf monsters Pachai, Pes, Hana, and Taro. Kidden starts living with the wolf monsters that he met in the Vale's dungeon. Kidden realizes that there is not enough food for the wolves. He starts to make food for the wolves, as they were their uninvited guests who were demanding food from him. Kidden used the holy sword to slice the food down to a microscopic level. Vale is curious to taste the dog food that Kidden made for the wolves. Kidden, taking their health into consideration, added some vegetables to balance the nutritional level and remove the fatty parts. Kidden gave the wolves the food, and Vale changed herself into a dragon to taste the food. As Vale tasted it, she found the food bland and decided she would never eat dog food again. Some mysterious people entered Kidden's place and were shocked by the fruits grown in the fields. They had never seen such fruits, either in the homes of humans or demons. As one of them tried the fruit, he was speechless and gave his boss the fruit to taste. They loved the flavor of the food. As one of them surveys the area, he informs them that it is more than a village. It was a farm where he spotted multiple houses with mysterious architecture at the center of the field. He also adds that it is a place where some aristocrats lived in seclusion. The thieves thought that there was bound to be a valuable treasure deep inside their houses. They find it a golden opportunity to sully their reputation, as thieves would raid the mansion and steal the valuable things with them. Belina remembers His Majesty and Estress, who are now the Demon Queen and King. She thought that she had been lending a hand over Kidden's place, and after the mermaids came, she had way too much free time. Belina finds Kidden doing pottery and asks why he needs to do that. Kidden replies that he wants some genuine ceramics. Belina tries invoking magic in one of the pebbles and gives it to Kidden, as the pebbles could move. As she kept the pebble in the pottery machine, it started to move. As it moves fast, the clay goes to hit Kidden's face, and Kidden asks Belina to adjust the speed. Belina starts to help Kitten with pottery making. Suddenly, the wolves are barking loudly, and Kitten runs to see what has happened and finds that Orcubo has caught a group of 11 bandits who were trespassing on their farm. The bandits caught were elves who were a subspecies of demons and throughout their history had branched out as a species of their elves, refrained from interacting either with humans or demons, and dwelled deep inside the forest. They were stealing with disregard for anyone's race, and they had been taking refuge in the hinterlands, where no one dared to go. They ask what the place is, to which Belina replies that it is St. Kitten's settlement. The bandits are confused, as the attendants of the humans are demons. As Orcubo says that they ate tomatoes, Platy and Vale get infuriated, and Platy suggests punishing them, as if they leave them unpunished, they would not be able to protect their precious field. It was said that elves were the groups that targeted the rich and noble merchants, and they never stole from the poor. Vale is furious at the bandits as they stole tomatoes from the field, and she is eagerly waiting to kill them. Kitten punishes them by making them work for him for a while. Kitten wants the elves to work for them as their punishment. Belina tells Kitten that they are chivalrous bandits and would not change the fact that they are criminals who are wanted in 2 kingdoms. Vale threatens them that if they do anything wrong, she will burn them into ashes. The bandits talk among themselves that the human male tamed the dragon, and the place is full of heinous criminals. Belina suggests Kitten hand the bandits over to the demons, and as the demon king of their generation dislikes unnecessary killing, they would not receive the death penalty. Belina tells Kitten that they are criminals, and they are obligated to turn them to the demon king. Kitten thinks that until things between the human race and the demon race are settled down, the elves will work there. Vale was given the responsibility of supervising those elves, and in return, she would get a treat from Kitten. Kitten gave the bandits some tea made by him, and started a conversation by asking what each of their skills are and what they are good at. Platy asks them if they are able to do farm work, pluck weeds, and harvest crops. The boss of the elves replies that by nature, they are a race that gathers fruits and herbs for their sustenance. Elves are those species to whom nature was just something that existed, not something they would work on to make their lives better. And that's the reason they found farm work and construction challenging. Vale was furious at the fact that they could be so picky and shouted at them, asking why they had left their mountains to eat someone else's food. An elf replies that their home was in the forest that was stolen from them by humans and demons. Kitten requests forgiveness on his race's behalf for causing chaos in their homes for their civilization. The elf says that it is okay for their civilization, but the continuous war that is occurring between the demons and humans led to a large amount of mana released from the war that eventually led to the forests drying. As Kitten is kind to the elves have decided to be obedient and atone for their sins. Like, share, and subscribe to find out in the next video. Hit the bell icon to get notified when I upload part 2. See you soon.